Hello everybody, it's me Nate aka Double Dog, and I'm back with another complete walkthrough. This time we're tackling the Dead Ends. This is the level 90 dungeon as the part of Endwalker content. It has an item level of 540 to enter and drops 560 level gear. We will go through each of the bosses and of course the trash mobs as we go through this. Now the first set of trash mobs is really nothing that you have to deal with other than the fact that just pay attention to their AoEs that they drop. You can do rather large pulls with this. Nothing really major or nothing that you have to worry about. But you burn through these trash mobs and you get to your first boss. The first boss is against the Caustic Grailbolf. I don't care if I say the name right. Different moves. I'll go through each and every one of them to help you through this battle. First up is a move known as Miasmata, which is a room-wide AoE that moves around based on the wind around the area. Pay attention to the way the wind is blowing so you'll know where these AoEs are going to move. And now if you get hit by these, you will get necrosis, and you must be cleansed of this or you will eventually die. Pay attention to that. Next up is a move known as Cough Up, where 3 sets of AoEs on players will appear, followed by a stack marker. So if you get the air AoEs on you, space out so you can alleviate the damage of the AoEs, and afterwards stack so you can alleviate the damage of the massive hit. Next up is a move known as Wave of Nausea, which is a donut-shaped AoE around the boss. Pay attention, you'll be able to avoid it. It's not that difficult. Next up is a move known as Pox Flail, which is your standard issue tank buster. You should be okay with that. Next up is a move known as Blighted Water, which is your stack marker. You'll see an AoE on a character. Stack to alleviate the damage as best you can. Heal through it. You'll be fine. And the final boss move that this guy does is Balfalment, where he will target AoE circles that will spread out. Now, once you get a targeted AoE, spread out to where you make sure that they don't overlap, and you will be fine. Other than that, that's really the only deal you have to deal with this first boss. You'll be able to beat him down and get to your second set of trash mobs. Now, your second set of trash mobs hit a little harder, but once again, just pay attention to the AoEs they set off. Watch out for their moves. You can pull them if you want to, but they're really nothing that you have to deal with that's really that bad. You can burn through them and get to your second boss. Now, the second boss is against the Peacekeeper. Naturally, I'll go through all of his moves, and here they are. First up is a move called Declamation, I believe it's called, which is a room-wide AoE. You'll pretty much just have to heal through it. You'll be fine. Next is a move known as Electromagnetic Repellents. Now this is where a field will appear around the boss that will debuff players if you stand near it with electrocution. Once you see this, just get away from the boss. You should be okay. Next up is a move known as Order to Fire, where a lot of these turrets will spawn around the arena and they will shoot line AoEs out away from the boss. Now a lot of times they will combine this with target AoEs as well, so you have to find a space that you can get into to avoid the blasts and the AoEs as well without overlapping. It can be kind of a pain, but nothing that you shouldn't be used to by now. Next up is a move known as No Future, where these targeting circles will appear from either the outside of the arena going in or from the inner of the arena going out. And after a certain amount of time, they will explode, and basically they'll do it in a certain time. And what you want to do is just wait for one to explode, move out of the way from another, and get to the area that's already exploded to get into a safe zone to avoid being hit. Next up is a move known as Peacefire, where AoEs that will rotate around the boss. Now keep in mind, this can combine with the other moves of Order to Fire or Electromagnetic Repellent. So you'll have to worry about dealing with both the AoEs from this rotating around the boss along with those other 2 moves. It can be kind of tricky, but there normally is always a safe spot you can find. Next up is a move known as Eclipsing Exhaust. That's what I'm calling it. Where it will spawn these AoE circles around the edges of the arena that have a knockback. And what you want to do is make sure that when you get knocked back, that you get knocked back in an area that's safe. That way you don't get any sort of damage. And the last move this boss does is known as Elimination, which is your standard issue tank buster. Pretty much heal through it. But this particular tank buster has a line blast. You'll want to make sure to get away from the tank when he causes this, because if you're in the middle of it, you can get hit and get hurt severely by this move. But other than that, that's all the moves of the second boss, and you can get on to your third set of trash mobs. Now, your third set of trash mobs, just treat them like the first two sets. You can gather and pull them. Watch out for their AoEs. Some of them hit pretty hard. Most of them aren't really that difficult. You can burn through them pretty easily without really any sort of issues and get onto your third and final boss of this dungeon. The last boss of this dungeon is the Last Mercy, Rala. And naturally, I'll go over all his moves. First up is a move known as Warm Glow. It's your standard issue room-wide AoE. Just heal through it. Next up is Pity, which is your standard issue tank buster. Just heal the tank through it. You'll be fine. Next up is a move known as Prance, where the boss will jump around 4 different times around the arena, and each where he jumps, he will have an area that will appear and will explode after a certain amount of time. Just pick it in the order where the boss jumps. Naturally, the boss jumps first. That place will blow up first compared to the last. Just make sure that you move to an area that's already exploded, and you'll be okay. Next up is a move known as Life's Breath, where the boss will jump to the edge and fire line AoEs followed by these weird butterflies. Now, avoid the AoEs that blast through the lines, but pay attention to the location of where the butterflies are facing, because what you want to do is stand on the opposite side of where the butterflies are facing, because they will set off an explosion in the way of their facing. So if you stand behind them, you can avoid their damaging attack, and you should be okay. Next up is a move known as Benevolence, which is your standard issue stack marker. Go ahead and stack to alleviate the damage, heal through it, and you'll be okay. Next up is a move known as Loving Embrace, where he will raise up one of his wings that is glowing and cleave that whole inside area of the arena. So when you see him raise up that wing, go to the opposite side to avoid taking massive damage. It takes up half of the arena when he does this. And his final move to watch out for is known as Still Embrace, where he will target AoE circles on you, and you just want to space out and make sure they don't overlap. And these are basically all the moves of the final boss, Rala. This is the last boss of this dungeon. You'll be able to beat him down and hopefully get some sweet gear and maybe some neat other items as well if you get lucky with some of the drops. Just let me know in the comments if this video helped you in any way. If you feel that I'm leaving out any sort of information that you need, or if you need me to add any more in, please give me a thumbs up if you like this video. Leave lots of comments so I can answer each and every single one of them. And remember, subscribe to my channel. That always helps a lot as well. And I always end my videos by saying, have fun, play hard, and remember, people, the devil is in the details. Peace out until next time.